It's episode 12, y'all. And now tuned into the Spin Cycle with DJ With Love on WDDS, the dirty station in the world, live streaming on Facebook and YouTube. Got a real special guest this week, y'all.
Try to enter my space with the hate, man, it must be crazy. I'm out here on daily, gotta get another bag by the daybreak. And I can't stop now, gonna come like it just touched down in my head. It'll reach when they heat up, people outside and feed us. Leave them in the X, got DMX pumping the speakers. Go 8 more, no label, no bueno.
This shit heat, bro, I ain't gonna lie to you.
Yeah, they know. They logo, come my peso.
Just wanted to vibe, and sometimes you make people think too much is all. I've been catching the vibe lately, man. Yes, sir.
Yeah. This episode 12 of the Spin Cycle with DJ With Love, live streaming on Facebook and YouTube. WDDS, the dirtiest station in the world. Yeah, we got a real special guest this week. We got Aaron Brave Soul in the building. What's going on, brother?
What up, fam?
Chilling,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Chilling. How 2022 been looking for you?
2022 honestly been rocky, but man, we still persevering because I know something great about to pop off.
I
can
hear
just
that.
feel it, man.
Yep. That's the mantra for everybody this year. You
Yes,
know what I'm
sir.
saying? Perseverance. You know what I'm saying? Everybody out here trying their hand at what they good at, and it's been working out for a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? So everybody just keep striving,
Yes, sir.
and that's how we doing it for the rest of this year going forward. You know what I'm saying? All right, so we're gonna get into this. Where did your love of music come from, bro?
First off, hey, y'all got to excuse me chewing on this big red piece of candy. It's like steak right now, man. We gonna to eat after this. So it's like I'm smacking in the mic. Hey, I feel comfortable, man. I'm not home, man. Shit.
Do what you do, brother.
So, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So where your love of music come from, bro?
Well, man, I grew up in a family of musicians and singers, and as a young age, I would always like hear them singing. Whether we be at like family events, sometimes we be 4th of July, Christmas, and they be singing Christmas carols, singing songs that's on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
So my ear as a child, I'm always listening. And my mom, she had a piano in the living room as a kid. And she said I would always crawl up on the piano, and I would be picking out one-note melodies.
Right.
So I'd be hearing stuff on the radio. As a baby or as a child, I was about 4 years old, and I like make my way up to the piano. It was an upright piano. Then I just started picking out one notes like dum dum dum, and it'd be a melody. Then one of the times my mom ran in there, she was like, "So and so, I know what I recognize. I heard that song on the radio before." But I didn't know what I was playing. I was just hearing, as children, we absorb everything we see. So
Right.
and I was just playing it back, and it just progressed. My mom put me in piano lessons when I got age 7. And then it just took off from there. And I just started singing. I started playing instruments. When I turned about 12, though, my brother, he was into hip-hop. He was a rapper. Him and his dog. Him and his boy, Sean, he was a rapper. Sean passed away, unfortunately. But, man, I always would get their tapes. They would make, and at that time, it was cassettes that they would come out. They would have single. They had a regular song, and then they had an instrumental on there.
Right.
So I'd take the tape on there, and we had to put I'm telling my age, we had to put the cotton inside the tape and press record.
Right.
And man, I would be in there rapping to the instrumentals off of the single tapes, like trying to come up with my own songs. At that time, it was whack as hell. Like it ain't sound like nothing. But,
Everybody start off like that, bro.
But my family and people around me knew it was something there. It was a natural thing that was there. So I just gravitated towards that. I started making beats. I started taking the big block Radio Shack recorders when I was about 12. I press record on that. Then I have there was this TR-808 Boss beat machine that I had, and I make beats, and I press record, and then I had this little Casio keyboard. It was about 16 keys, cheap as hell, man.
Right.
And then I'll be just like trying to make beats on it. And my boys, they hear the shit, they be like, "Damn, what you make that on?" This little ass Casio keyboard in a big ass Radio Shack. Radio Shack.
Right.
It's
right,
crazy,
right.
man.
Right.
It's crazy how you could find the stuff to do what you need to do. Like, cause I couldn't afford the MPCs at the time, I ain't had a recording equipment. I had no studio, so I had to make do what it do.
Right, yeah, you get real creative when you actually got a love for something and you want to get it done. You know what I'm saying? That's when them creative juices get to flowing.
Yes,
you feel me?
sir.
You know what I'm saying? So, name me some of the instruments not instruments, but some of the artists from back in the day that was your big inspirations for you to continue to do what you was doing.
Well, like I said, definitely growing up in the family of like the singers, I had Motown in my ear constantly. But
Right.
once I began to hear like DJ Premier and begin to hear these hip hop producers flipping these Motown samples and flipping the old soul samples, it really caught my ear. And I just started to really gravitate more towards building songs and songwriting versus towards like just being like a connoisseur of music or singer. I wanted to be behind the scenes, behind the boards, man. It was fascinating. The DJs, you know, I would see those school DJs hitting the stop and scratching.
Right,
that was
right,
always fascinating to me. So I began to find this is an old one. I used to take my mom's. They had records, and I would take them old records. And I'll scratch them shits up, man. Be mad as hell, but I'd be, mama come in from work. I'm in there scratching, but I didn't know that I was fucking up her records. You know? But she just seen something in me, man, and she began to buy instruments. So I had drums in my basement. She bought me my first keyboard. I had that. So when I was in high school is when it really, really, really began to get serious because people began to invest in my talent.
Right. So what's the first instrument you say you mastered? Like you said, you started off on the piano, but what's the first? I know you play a lot of different instruments. So what's the first one you say you was like really good at? Like,
Well, the first one I was really good at, I think it had to be the piano because I started off and I began to take the classical piano lessons. Even though I would take the classical and flip the classical, it was just something about like just taking the old school and flipping it and making it current. Yeah, man, it was that old school for me. But then as I got older, like I said, I began to like find my swag. I began to flip them samples, man, and like begin to make it hip hop and began to like put it together.
right. So you could play by ear before you actually learn how to read music.
Yeah, it was reading. It was playing on one note melodies. It was when I started up as a child going and get on that piano, doom doom do re mi fa sol la, because from the one note I began to learn how to build two notes. And then when I could play two notes, it was like this. But then I began to learn how to play three. And from three, it was four. Now it's 5, 6, 7 note chords.
Right.
You know, that I could lay on top of drums and it can make my sound even more bigger.
Okay, so at what age would you say you made your first like full song?
12 years old.
12 years old with
Yeah.
like 2-verse hook, bridge, all that.
Yeah.
12 years old.
Like I said, I would. This is what would happen, man. We had a school. The school was Cooley, you know Cooley, but next to Cooley was a record store called Justin's.
Yeah, for sure.
And man,
know
Justin was Justin. Like I said, they would sell these singles. The artists would come out with the singles, and they always had an instrumental version on there. So that's how I would find my structure, and I would know that like I was making industry standard sound and stuff when I couldn't build the beats and when I didn't have the equipment to build the beats. You know,
Right.
I was using the industry stuff. And Justin would always have the major artists come up in there talking to people, and I began to get real inspired when I seen them come in the hood because I'm from Finkel and Strathmore, you know. We ain't see that. We just seen the hood people, just seen the streets. We just seen, you know, people come around like that. We ain't get to see the $1 million people coming through the hood like that. So
Right, yeah.
I don't know how Justin was doing that, man. He was bringing them through.
Yeah, that was always something good about Justice. We got to see a lot of them came over to Cooley and during our assemblies and performed and stuff like that. I remember seeing Donnell Jones came performed. Kane and Abel from No Limit. I remember they came over there and performed once.
You remember A-Ball and MJG was up
Yeah,
there?
yep, yep, yeah. So that was real cool. I remember meeting Mace up there.
Mace came up there too.
you know
Everybody
what I'm
was
saying?
coming up there.
Justin, that was a legendary spot for us over there off Finkel and Hubble. You know what I'm saying?
It was legendary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's where it began for me, man. Because it let me know, okay, I got the talent, man. And then they would always say, yeah, you got the talent, but you can go further. You can make it up out of your surroundings. So I was always inspired when people that make it up out. I'm always inspired to see people make it out of there, man. Because it's nice to get love in the hood, but it's good to like get out and be able to put your family in a better place. So
Right, I heard that. Yeah, so like we were saying before, I know you play a lot of instruments, but you got one real unique one, that's steel pan.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
steel
saying?
pan.
I don't see a lot of people around here playing that. So what got you into that? What made you incorporate that into your repertoire?
Well, man, the steel pan, it's a weird story because my dad, that come from my dad's side, like all of the singing and like all of the pianos type of stuff come from my mom's
You
side.
come from a Caribbean background?
On my dad.
Okay.
Yeah, my dad, he was part Trinidadian, so
Okay,
I got
cool.
grandparents that was from Trinidad. So he would always play the calypso and soca and the reggae songs for me as a kid growing up, taking me to Toronto, driving up to. They have a big ass festival called Carabana,
Yeah.
like the biggest Caribbean fest in the North America, other than New York and other places like that. And they got this what they call a panorama, and they had like big bands, and they got like 100-piece steel drum bands, people playing these big instruments, and they said, well, my dad said in family when I was about 4 or 5. We was at the festival and I heard the sounds of this steel band coming down the road. And I couldn't really see. I was just like knee high. But needless to say, they turned around and looked back and I was gone. And it was like, where you go? Where you go? About an hour later, they found me coming back the other way and I was following the band. And the sound of the steel band was just carrying me. And so it was something about it it's something about catching stuff at a young age that kind of set the tone for it.
Right.
Yeah, what you're doing and what the road you're going on, you know.
Okay, yeah. So I always wondered about steel pans. Like, are they all made exactly the same, or like in different spots? Do you hit it in different spots to make different sounds on each individual drum?
Yeah, definitely. Well, the steel pan is, well, first of all, it's considered to be the only acoustic instrument invented in the 20th century.
Yeah.
So it's like it's still fairly new. It's a millennial instrument, but it has different grooves on it. There's a way that they make it by hand, first of all, and they take the big oil drum, 55-gallon oil drum, they cut it in half, and then they got fire, and they put the steel pan in the fire and let it melt and let it sink the top, and then they take like a big hammer and they bang it by hand, boom, 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 until they sink the top, and then the top becomes the bottom, and that's where you get the grooves from, because they have to groove out the notes. You get a chromatic scale like C, C sharp, D, E flat.
Right.
Just like a piano, they follow the same scale. When they tune it the exact way that they tune a guitar and a piano, and they
That's
put it in
crazy.
key.
Right.
You know, so you could play it with a symphony orchestra, or you could play it in recordings.
Yeah. So it take a long time just to make one, huh?
You do, man. But them folks in Trinidad, man, making it by hand, man, they got so much passion for what they do. But what's happening now is, well, I'll say it like you got the other breeds of people that's taking it now. You got dirty-minded white folks that's taking it. They done found a way to industrialize it, so they're making it mass. So they're making it by machine instead of making it by hand. But what's happening is they're not getting the same sound.
Right.
So the old school way, the way that the Trinidadians make it is living on.
Right. Cool. Yeah. I seen you playing steel pan on Fox 2 News one day. You've been on there a couple of times, right?
Yeah.
So how did that end up happening? How did you even get that plug to get on the news to do that?
Well, I normally play at a lot of the festivals, man. So I play at the Detroit Caribbean Festival and played at the Afro World. And Tati Amari, we ran into each other at a Caribbean event, and she liked what she heard. And I always told her that I wanted to come on the show, and she said, "You can only come on when you got something that's ground. When you got something about to really happen." You know, she made that point. So needless to say, I was just working, and then I got a call from her like, "Hey, would you like to be on for Christmas?"
Oh, okay.
I'm like, wow. I was still working, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I was still trying to get better, and then from that, I went on and I did a Christmas thing. And then I got the Fuego. They heard that I was dropping a single called Fuego, and the Detroit News got it. They put it in the paper, and then Channel 4 saw that, and then they had me on to be on Live in the D.
Right.
So that was two different news companies that normally don't happen like that. So that was a blessing in disguise.
That shit was pretty dope.
Just being out. That's why I'm a stippler about not always getting the large venues, because I've done like a lot of the small venues. I've done a lot of large venues, but the big venues sometimes they come from being at a smaller place. You know? So you never know who's listening to you. You could be 10 people out there. It take one person that can get you where you need to be.
Yeah. So you say you perform at a lot of festivals. Like, how do you get those type of connections?
Well, a lot of the festivals started with my dad. We had a band when I was a kid. Me and my dad, we had a band called Millennium Steel Band, because he was a steel pan player too. So I'm second generation on that. My dad played, and we played together. We had like a 5-piece band. This was back when Caribbean Fest was at Hart Plaza.
Yeah.
And then they had Afro World. Shout out to Afro World, it's back at Hart Plaza. But this was around like the early 2000s. I began to get real popular as a band, but I broke away from the band and began to play solo. So I would be playing all around the city, and they would be booking me solo to play all around the city. And a lot of it just come from just years and years and years of playing for different people. It's just building up a good clientele.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
So have you get through playing all around the city? Have you got a chance to meet any prominent entertainers around the city and network like that?
Yeah, definitely. I've been able to meet some prominent people like Eminem.
Okay.
Got to meet the Jake Bass brothers. That was the producers of the Eminem, and got to work close alongside with that. They had a commercial in the Super Bowl that came out with Lose Yourself. Chrysler commercial.
Yeah.
Shout out to Selected, a guy that I was singing in the choir then. So I always kind of had singing a part of me, but I got to meet like Eminem and a lot of people in that camp through that. Like, to me, Eminem is like top 1 or 2 MCs for me. So being able to do that was motivating. I wasn't expecting that to come from that area.
Mm-hmm.
But you never, like I say, you never know how.
You never know when you're doing what you love. You never see anything pop up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's why, I'm learning, man. Because sometimes, like, I like to get the venues. I love how that sound. Like doing halftime at the Pistons game. I've been able to do that. Been able to do Little Caesars Arena with the Red Wings.
Mm-hmm.
Been able to do the Lions. And being able to hear the roar of that crowd is something that I think a lot of people get addicted to, that having that energy rush. It's something that people don't like experience, man. Just being down there on the field, on the floor, and hearing,
Right.
yeah, man.
Right.
But that's rewarding, man. So that's a big reward for the small steps. So we grinding, and I'm grinding.
Cool. Yeah, so I'm gonna rewind a little bit. I had my man on here as a guest, King Mike Luster.
King Mike Luster, yeah, that's
he
what
was telling me about the beginnings of his career. He was telling me y'all work together a lot. So I want to hear from your side. Let me know a little bit about that.
For sure, King Mike Luster. Shout out King Mike Luster. Like that's high school. that's high school all the way. Like 8th going into 9th grade. We got real cool in the band because we was in the band room, drumline. And like I said, when I was in high school, my mom began to buy me instruments. I began to upgrade, so I started off on this little small Casio. And by the time Mike began to come around, she bought me this Roland, man. And like, I ain't afraid to say who invested in me, man. Some people don't even talk about like the people that poured into them.
Right.
Moms began to buy like equipment, drum sets. I had an organ, drum set, keyboards all in my basement. Like, I was about 15, 16. And we would connect in the band room, and what began to happen was, like, I skipped class to go in the lab. I had a little studio in my basement to go make beats. So I began to spend more time, like, at the crib. Like, I live right around the corner from Cooley.
Right.
And we began to go lead class and go in my crib and make beats and rap and record and do all that kind of shit like that, man. And that's how it happened. A lot of different people. So it'd be about 20 people in there at one time. We had there like making beats and rapping, like just whatever, man, having a good time, but skipping though. So so I already knew what path. I was real serious about that, man. I was serious as hell about music back then and shit.
Right.
Even so, like, I had to wait a little later to graduate because shit, I had to make up some classes because I was either in the band room or I was in the crib like making beats. So shit.
I ain't gonna lie, shit. Back in them days, Cooley, we had one of the dopest bands in the city, for real.
Oh, that was fire, shit.
Y'all used to do y'all thing.
Yeah, that was fire, man.
Yeah.
That was ain't gonna never get that feeling again, man. Like, that's like people that play football and play basketball.
Yeah.
Like, to get that experience growing up and that feeling of competitiveness, you never get that feeling again.
Right.
And I think that's why, like, I'm still in music, because like I'm still searching for that feeling of, like, when we do battle with the bands and do that. Like, I still do beat battles and stuff like that because I still need that feeling, man.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, King Mike Luster, like high school, like we had a group called Lethal Lyricists. It was me, Mike, and it was my boy Teran. I used to call him Jailbird.
Yeah, Jailbird. I remember Jailbird.
And then it was New York. We call him, his name was Ramel, but they call him New York. He was from New York. And like, we had a little rap group. And like I said, we would just go to the crowd, make beats on a little rolling. And by the time like they get out of the school and shit, I'm at the crib waiting, like, let's go, let's record. Shit, let's do it. So we began to do it and get tighter and tighter. That's where that started, man. That's when me and Mike and all that, the Lethal Lyricist thing started.
Okay. Yeah, cool. So let's talk about some of the previous work you done put out. You know what I'm saying? How many you have any full length albums out yet, or you just put out singles so far?
It's funny, man, because it's almost like Dr. Dre and the Detox for me, because like I've always had singles, but I was always the type to not like release music like that, because I had some shit happen like out of high school, like with losing music. It kind of made me like just hold on tight to my music. So I never put no album out, but I would always like perform live and like make beats for other artists and like just drop singles here and there. So this the first album, so it's almost like that defining moment, man. A lot of people waiting, man, but it's good to be able to say you a new artist like that when you're not really a new artist,
right.
Because you just pop out of nowhere. People be like, damn, where you come from?
If you think about it for real, like a lot of artists, you think nobody comes out overnight. You know what I'm saying? Everybody put that work in. You know what I'm saying? You see people pop up out of nowhere, and you think like motherfuckers just decided to make music one day and got on. Like,
yeah, it ain't like that.
Everybody pretty much been grinding from the mud. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You just take that one opportunity, you meet that one person, you make that one song, and it's up from there. You know?
Yeah. Being in the right place, man, at the right time, man. Just that's being out there. Because artists too, like I used to be the type, like I stay in the studio all day, make beats. I have about 20 beats in one day. Like Mike and them would test, man. Like they want to go out, man. I want to stay in to make beats. You know what I'm saying? They got to pull me out to go do a show. You know what I'm saying? And once they do the show, leaving the show, I'm going back in the studio.
Right.
So I was always that kind of dude. But now, like when you be out there, that's when stuff happen for you. People can see you and they can hear you. So I learned to be out there more. So
yep. That's a big thing though. The networking. You know what I'm saying? You can have all the talent in the world, but if you're not sharing your talent and what you know, ain't no ears getting to it, then I ain't gonna say it's for nothing because you still enjoying it. But what you think you're gonna get out of it, it really ain't. You feel me?
facts.
You know what I'm saying? So a lot of us, I'm an introvert myself. You know what I'm saying? I don't like. It took a lot of courage for me to even come here and do this show. You know what I'm saying?
You popped it off though. It's fly, man.
I appreciate that, man.
I like that.
I appreciate that. I like doing this. It helps me with my kind of anxiety, kind of being out in the public and letting people see me, and it also helps me get people out to promote their stuff. You know what I'm saying?
It's good, and it's good too. It's a good to like help you open up, man. Be an opener and let people in on what's going on with you, because like I do so much, man. I shortchange myself. It's probably a lot of stuff like I probably won't even talk about in this interview that happen, man. But that's just because like I ain't really like. I ain't out there. I could be a dickhead, but I ain't out here like that. Definitely confident, but I ain't trying to be, that dickhead, man.
Right.
So I probably forget it. I probably hit you up like, yo, Will, need to come back on and talk about something else.
That's
So
cool. You always
back,
welcome,
man.
dog. You always welcome. Anybody come on here.
Yeah.
Anytime you dropping some new shit, got something going on, performing
Yes, sir.
somewhere, let me know. Come on. And shit, we can go from there. You feel me?
Yes, sir.
Yep. So say you make a lot of beats for artists and stuff like what artists have you made beats for?
Well, the most recent was Tone. But back then I did a lot of beats for Tone. I did Big Herc, like Cheddar Boys.
Okay.
I had some Big Sean mixtape. I had a Rick Ross like mixtape. I did something for Jeezy. Who else? I did something for Bad Boy. I was on like the Bad Boy reunion tour. Got to do some production for that live set when it came.
Okay.
This is back when it was at the Palace. I got to do some background vocals for people like Ron Isley, Kim. I got to do some amazing things, like just being there. Like it's difficult for me because like I came in through the back door. I've been in some venues that like some stars haven't been in, like Radio City Music Hall. Got to perform Radio City Music Hall through America's Got Talent. Did the whole America's Got Talent thing. Got to walk the streets of Manhattan, like people running up to you, recognize you from being on TV. That was so weird, just being in a TV, being in that moment from being in it and then coming out. It was like being in a box or being like in a tube. So it was something, man. A lot of people ain't gonna be able to handle that, man.
Right.
Like, a lot of people ain't gonna be. They're gonna break under pressure, but like if you keep going, then like it'll find you again. So
right.
A lot of people I know that was on America's Got Talent, they stopped doing what they was doing because they let Howard Stern and they let like the judges say what they was gonna say, break their spirits, and they ain't out there no more.
Yeah, you gotta take you gotta take critiques as what they are, critiques. Don't let it stop you, you know what I'm saying? Take it as a lesson and incorporate that with what you do next. You feel me?
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? If you can't take criticism, then it ain't even really no use of you even trying to do anything. You feel me?
Yeah, then you gotta find a way to like make it a step, man, just to get to the next.
Like especially if you like mostly social media based or whatever, because that's a, you know what I'm saying, motherfuckers is gonna hate just to be hating on there, you know what I'm saying? You know, there's gonna be more people critiquing and hating on you just because that's what they do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they make it go around. Like it's just like being in person. You got them people that's like in the background that might be hating. Like I learned something too. Like I used to think sometimes people be at your show, like they might not be clapping, they might not be saying something, they be in the front row looking dead at you. Like I used to be like, oh, hate it. And until one time I did this show and this dude came up to me. He was like, this white dude. He was like, man, that was the most beautiful thing I ever heard in my life. And I'm like, honestly, man, you was just sitting there looking at me in my eye like I was looking up or something like that. He was like, no, I was just taking it in. Like I didn't know how to respond. Yeah, that was another learning lesson, man. I could have took that like, and it could have messed my whole show up because we was at the Fox Theater. And this dude in the front, like they very wealthy, man. They get them front seats and they just sitting up there like, and you giving your all and they just looking at you. But after the show, they come up to you like, yeah, man, that was awesome. I'm like, this is a whole different person. Yeah, man. So yeah, we need that. We need that.
Right. Yeah. So all right, man. Shit. June 25th, man.
June 25th.
That's the day.
That's the day, man. That's the day they gonna get it. 14 tracks of like bangers. I'm not just saying this because it's mine, but from top to bottom, from 1 to 14, I got some of my best beats ever, like some of my best writing ever. It's all produced by me, and I'm singing on there, I'm rapping on there, I'm dropping my beats, I'm speaking some truth. We got some vibers, we got some we got some reggae, got some street anthems. We got some of everything because like I come from a diverse background, so I just had to find a way. It took a while for me to be able to incorporate everything and put it in one pot. So this just the rise is the rise of that, man, is being able to come out and put it all out finally.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so you saying you doing rapping and singing, you got different sounds, R&B, Caribbean, and all that. So what would you categorize it as? Like what genre would you put this in?
What genre? Definitely like a world type music, hip hop slash hip hop slash rap. But a lot they categorize it with the world because it's steel pan and a lot of whenever you incorporate like reggae sounds or just like, cause I use like Latin sounds and like a lot of different overseas type of sounds, so they kind of like categorize. They put a slash on me. They don't normally like just drop me inside like a hip hop box. Or then I've turned around and got a song on the album that's like just a straight sample like hip hop. Or then I turn around and got something that's like I play something for you that's straight trap. Not necessarily like trap within the sonic sound, you know what I mean? So it can go anywhere.
Yeah, I heard a little snippet you was playing on the steel pan. You had the Michael Jackson sample, "Lady of My Life."
Man, that's one of my
That shit was
favorite
super
songs,
hard.
man. I appreciate that. That one, and I like that, and I like when LL did it. I always had that
Oh
melody
yeah, the Hey
stuck.
Level with Boys and Men. Yeah.
It was something about that vibe, man. And like I was always like, even back then when we was doing stuff with Mike, we was lethal lyrics and stuff was real technical. It was subliminal, with them big words.
Yeah.
Man, that carried out, man. I like people like Nas and Eminem, so I was used to that punchline. With this album, I didn't dumb it down, but I focused more on the melody, because I do sing, and I threw the punchlines in with the melody, so threw it on top of hard beats, and I thought I came out with a real nice combination, man. Something different, definitely.
Okay.
Something definitely different, but definitely relatable though.
Cool. So you plan on touring? Got anything planned?
Definitely touring, man. After I can get through this summer, man, I want to like do something regional. Like I would normally go to the Caribbean Fest in Chicago, like Chicago, Miami. I go wherever the Caribbean festivals are, the big time festivals. They got them in Miami, Chicago, New York, where else? Atlanta, all them type of markets, and small markets too. I'm in there like Valdosta, Georgia, back country woods, man, where people ain't going, you know what I'm saying, but where they love real good music. You know, everybody shooting for the majors sometimes, and the majors a lot of times they don't want to hear it. because they already got what they're looking for, what's gonna move their business. That don't mean you're not good, but that just mean like they know what they're looking for. So you got to work these small markets, and like I charted off of like working a small market. I went Billboard. I had a song like that shook the industry, and it charted, and nobody know the Detroit radio stations. I never played it. I got spins all in the South, and it went to number 5 like on Billboard. And it was something that like I learned, but as it began to grow and go higher and higher, then the machine came and took it out because they was putting marketing money into it, and marketing money into their songs. The record labels had big $1 million budgets.
Right.
So it wasn't organically growing no more. By that time, they found okay, we can get the small fish out by just
All right, yeah, so cool. So talk about that for a minute, like the industry politics.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, give a little insight on that about what you know about that.
Man,
Because you said you had the song to go to number 5 on Billboard, but don't nobody know about it. And a lot of people don't know the industry games that get played. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So talk about that a little bit.
basically, man, they have what you call BDS, which track the spins on the radio. They track them all around the United States. So here in Detroit is Radio 1, but like you have a lot of like satellite radio, like industry, like now you got the blogs, but then you got like a lot of terrestrial sites
Yeah.
that's in there. That's still moving because the more those small markets that you get, it kind of level off the major markets. And what it is the independent. They see the independence. That's why you got to get your songs registered, BMI, ASCAP, get that publishing, get all that stuff tracked, copyright. Because once you do that, it put it in a database system to where like they can track that. Billboard can track the spins and see who's spinning in certain areas. See who got the most spins in Detroit. See who's spinning the most in Georgia or Florida. I wasn't getting the spins here in Detroit, but down there in Vedesta, Georgia, in Atlanta, I was getting like 102 spins every day, and it went up to like top 10 and what they call it, the playlist top 10. And it was like number 3 or 4 every week. It would continue to grow, and then the other small terrestrial stations like South Carolina, Greenville, South Carolina, they began to pick it up, and then small market down in Alabama began to pick it up. So I began to see all these ads, and then they got this ad indicator that indicate the stations that add your songs, and mine was at like 230, and these majors was at like 50, 60 because they're big conglomerates.
Right.
All of these small markets was able to like make me peak on that Billboard, and it stayed there for about a month. I had 2 different songs. One was called Loving This Life, and one was called One Eye Up. Not One Eye Up, only One Hit Away. I'm getting my ones confused. Only One Hit Away. And they stayed there for about 2 months. And then before, like I said, the big fish know the small dogs coming up.
Right.
So what they do is throw their millions of dollars in there to offset what's going on and what's coming in independently.
Right. So it's almost kind of like a get down or lay down situation.
Yeah, because you can invest $10,000 into your marketing, but you gotta still understand you up against like a conglomerate that got 5 million.
Right.
Like Lil Durk, Lil Baby, all of the bigger artists, they got $5 million like marketing and promotion budgets like that. You know, they got something set up with the radio stations to where they get played.
Right, they
like
getting them
that.
automatic spins no matter how the song sound. You know what I'm saying? They come out,
playlists.
right.
Yeah, that was something I had to get over because I was pissed, man. I was like, that's when I really learned that it ain't about your talent, boy. You got to get up here. You're going to have to, like, shake some shit. You're going to have to make some connections, make some network, get to know some people, too. Because a lot of people in there because of who they know, people put them in the places. I signed a deal out of high school. I was down in Atlanta working. I was in the compound, man. I was sending my stuff off. I don't know if I ain't going to name the record labels, but big-time record labels. I was sending them to Atlantic, people like Atlantic Jive, and they would play it for people like Jeezy's. And what they do, they would have big writing sessions.
Right.
They would bring in about 10 or 15 different writers from Atlanta, major writers, and then they'll go through beats, and then they'll write songs to them. And then they'll put them in it, and they'll see if they place. Well, what ended up happening with me was they came back to me, they chose the beat, and then it was like, well, boom, 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 we got 10 grand, like, up front. Like, if you want to get paid up front, you ain't got to worry about your back end and like that since you ain't registered. Like, it was like, you got BMIs. At that time, I didn't have BMI. I'm out of high school. I don't know nothing about publishing.
Right.
You got your BMI? Okay, no, we'll just pay you 10 grand up front. So they paid me the 10 grand up front. The song went on to become number 1. song began to become one of the biggest songs. I couldn't take no stake in it. All I could say was I got 10 grand from it because I gave up my rights in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't have no BMI, I ain't had no publishing. I just took the upfront money. So I couldn't have no stake to that. That happened twice. So what happened is people began to hear songs on the radio. They're like, damn, man, I heard your song on the radio. Like, did you produce? I'm like, yeah, I didn't produce it, but they, it got paid off. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Blah, blah, blah. They call them ghost producers.
Mm-hmm.
They do that with songwriters, too. They pay you up front to write the song.
Yeah.
It's just like giving up your publishing and your
Mhm.
rights.
Right.
Give up all your rights, man. So you got to keep your rights as an independent. I seen that happen twice, man. It would have been life changing, but because I wasn't operating right, you know what I'm saying. I was jumping the gun. I didn't take my time. Like the two life changing moments, it didn't happen. It should have been like, okay, give me that 10 grand plus. You're gonna give me my back end, my
Right.
BMI, my asking, my mechanical royalties. You gonna give me all of that. And when the song chart and when it become number one, it's gonna say produced by Brave. So it's not gonna say produced by so and so and so.
Right.
Yeah. Not 5%. Not get them split sheets too. A lot of
Right.
artists don't know about split sheets. It's in publishing you got 200% or sometimes 100%. So usually it's like 50% go to the writer, 50% go to the producer. But then like if you got writers in between there, say you wrote a hook, that's 5 to 10% money in publishing that's yours just for you writing the hook. A lot of people don't know that
Right.
you didn't write the whole song, but you threw a hook in there that
Mhm.
that's
What about even like, can you get writer credits just for coming up with like concepts or coming up with like a little idea in a song?
you can if you got that split sheet right. If you're all
Yeah.
in there, you doing the paperwork like that because they take concepts, and that's what happened to me. Like I will claim that like till I go that I generated a sound like a lot of people didn't even know it was me behind that. Like people begin to start hearing the PIMPs with the steel pan
Yeah.
like this like. And then you got Crank That Soldier Boy came out with a song that was steel pan and bass like on heavy drums, you know what I'm saying? So it was a whole type of different sound. And then Kanye began to drop a song like I put on for my city, I put on for my city. I was sending tracks out to the same label, man.
Right.
That's all I can say, man. When you don't have your paperwork in order, man,
Mhm.
especially I'm glad it happened as a youngin because now, like, I'm a shark. This shit is not happening again.
Right.
You know,
And I know it got to be frustrating because you saying you crafted the sound behind some of these bigger hits, but you can say it to you blue in the face, but a lot of people won't believe it.
it's like,
Because-
yeah. It's only if you knew me and you was listening to them tracks and you heard me press play. Mike heard a lot of that, like Jailbird. A lot of cats that was with me in high school, they heard that shit. That was me pressing play. Like, it's different, man.
Mhm.
But it's cool though. It's smooth because like it's leading me up to what's happening now, man. All that stuff. Now finally I'm rising up above all that happened.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So you independent right now.
Yeah, doing everything independent. My project is gonna be the first on my record label. It's gonna be LLC. This Brave Soul Elite. So
Okay.
Soulful Productions, and I'm gonna be looking for artists and be doing
Yeah,
collaborations.
that's what I was getting ready to lead into. Like
Yeah.
after you put this out, where you plan on going the executive route?
Oh, definitely, man. Definitely looking for collaborations. Gonna put out a compilation first. Once this album gets circulating, I got tracks I done already started with different artists. Some real hot names too gonna be on it. I'm gonna do something with some of my dogs growing up with too. Some people I just all handpicked, and then I'm gonna do all the beats, and then I'm gonna let them do what they do. Hop on there and just put it all out as a compilation. Brave Soul Elites, and just like ride it out, man, and just let people. Like I'm at a stage where I just want to see other people get on, man. You know,
Mhm.
it's the pot is here now. The lens is here. We just need the people out there to catch the eye.
Right. I hear
Strike
that.
while the iron hot.
Cool. Yep. So you tuned into the Spin Cycle with DJ with Love on WDDS, the dirtiest station in the world. Live streaming on Facebook and YouTube. Episode 12 of the Spin Cycle. We got Aaron Brave Soul up in here. You feel me?
Yes, sir.
All right. So check it out. I'm gonna get into some music questions now. So
Yes, sir.
let me get your top 5 R&B artists of all time.
Top 5.
Your
of all
favorite,
time.
not your favorite, not who you think is the best. Like who you ride with. Like if you had 5 artists that you only listen to
All
who-
time.
Yeah, all time.
It's a combo. in no order.
No,
but,
no order, just your fire.
Well, I gotta say Marvin Gaye off the rip. That so smooth, so soulful. Marvin Gaye, man, I like R. Kelly, man. Like you can't take nothing from that dude musically, man. I gotta give a shout out for that music. That man's pen and his music and his gift.
Right.
He's there. I throw Usher in there. I throw Chris Brown in there. That fifth one is kind of up for grabs because it's a lot of like new cats that I like what I'm seeing from now that's coming up.
You know who I like that's new? That's come up on the R&B side, Blast.
I was just about you on that. That was my other one, Blast out of LA.
Yeah.
I got
Blast
some
hard.
LA connects, man. Like I'm about to be out there in LA real soon. Definitely trying to make a connect out there.
Right.
Blast is definitely like that's what I said up for Tago number 5. He got the vibe, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He got the melody over banging beats on some fire lyrics. You know what I mean? And it's hot, man. I like that.
Right.
So I could slide him in there, right? For that fifth slot is somebody being that's like current.
Okay.
Who like an honorable? Let me see an honorable mention. I ain't got no honorable mention. Current. There's some dogs. There's some dogs. I like current, but Blast is like a dog.
What about on the female side?
R&B.
Yeah. Cause you know they killing shit right now.
They the ones that's on top.
Yeah. And
I like Summer, man. I like Summer. I like her. Like her might be my favorite. Like right current.
Right. Let me say this. I was listening to an interview with Tank, and somebody asked him why do they think that the females is killing shit on the R&B side right now, and he was saying because the men have to compete with the rappers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the rappers is singing too now.
Yeah.
So they just can't come out and just croon. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? They gotta compete with niggas like Drake and
Yeah.
Tory Lanez and shit
Yeah.
like that. You know what I'm saying? When the
And-
females can just still keep doing their thing and sing.
Yeah.
But I don't feel that way. I feel like if you just go out there and be true to yourself and make your music, it's gonna resonate with your fan base. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fact. A lot of that got to do with people's perception and wanting to be perceived by people a certain type of way. Because a lot of R&B artists, like they want it's either too hard or it's too. They say it's too soft. And ain't no middle ground. So
Yeah.
So it kind of like cut a lot of people out. But when you get to like the Drakes, that's people. He not the greatest singer, but he understands melody. And that's something I learned from Smokey Robinson. Smokey Robinson said it's not the greatest lyric, but it's the best melody that that get people ear. And it's what babies recite back. When babies hear songs, they not repeating lyrics. They saying the simplest melody. They reciting that back, and it's getting stuck. You know what I'm saying? So definitely melody. Drake did that, and he turned out a whole generation with it. Like the rappers, they all got melodies behind their bars now.
Right. That's crazy. You said that about something that babes can recite back. Because I was watching another thing with Future.
Oh yeah,
And he was saying he be in the studio. He'd just be thinking of shit like London Bridge and shit like that in his head. And his homeboys be like, man, what you over there singing that shit for? Singing them lullabies and nursery rhymes. He was like, because that's where I get my melodies from.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
that's what Nelly did, man. Like Nelly rhymes from the real country grammar, all of that type of stuff was real nursery rhyme. And that's what they did. That's what country artists do. They take nursery rhymes. So country and rap is so similar. And now country adapted most of hip hop drums and hi hats. Everybody got the quick hi hats, that quick trap hi hat and snare. So, and that's in country and R&B. That's the next thing why a lot of R&B people can't croon because the sound is so rap down.
right. And, what's the name? Don't get credit for them hi hats. Beats by the pound.
Beats by the
KLC.
pound. Yeah, KLC is fire.
Yeah.
808 Mafia do that. Like
That's where it probably was before that, but that's who made it resonate to me was Beats by the Pound. That No Limit song.
They used to do that.
Yeah.
Like with the MPC.
Yeah.
They got something what they call a one note where you could just hold down the button and press it like you could set the time to what you wanted to do. I got like an MPC 1000 when I was able to get one. It was like the cheapest one. But like I was banging beats out of that boy. Like I had the 2500 at that time was the best one. And I learned how to work the 1000 like that. I was chopping samples and doing all kind of crazy stuff. Like putting my turntables into it, sampling like scratches and breaks and putting it in the beats.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
And when you talk about beat machines and shit like that, always can go back to the Bombs Over Baghdad video. Remember at the end when Dre was hitting with the choir and shit, and he was hitting the drums at the end.
Yeah. Most iconic, man.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Dre definitely my favorite producer. Dr. Dre and Kanye. I like a lot of different producers.
Dr. Dre got the best snares.
He got the best, snares and drums because it's heavy, man.
Yeah.
He teach you heavy drums and he teach you dark melodies and chords and like how to stack. That's what I learned from Dr. Dre. Like I studied Dr. Dre, and that's what I learned from him was how to stack my sounds to make them become big.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can get a sound that's stock. It's a real simple sound attack. You can take that snare and you can put 3 or 4 different snares on top of that. You got this big ginormous pop. And that's what Dre did with his kick snares and hi-hats. And I found out how he would quantize they call it quantize.
Mm-hmm.
It's how you put the beat on time, and it's either like right on timing or it's either lax like a drummer.
Right.
So you get this boom.
Right.
Jay Dilla is real.
Yeah.
You know, he's famous for that.
Mm-hmm.
They call that off quantize.
Right.
And I'm excited, man. Dang, I'm like in the mic. I hear feedback. And
It's all
man.
good, man. It's all
This
good.
love, man.
Oh yeah, for sure. All right, so when we did the R&B side, now give me your top 5 favorite rappers.
Top 5, no order.
No order.
I like Currency. I like
Okay.
Lil Baby. I like Drake, definitely like Drake. I like my man out of New York. What's dog out of? Real lyrical.
Benny the Butcher.
Benny the Butcher. Yeah, I like Benny the Butcher. A lot of them cats, man, I like it when I hear it come on. I listen to satellite radio. I like it when I come on, but they be dropping on the 1 hitters, 1 or 2 or 3 hitters, and I don't really be knowing a lot of their names, but the ones that's on top doing it like right now. And then I like the ones that's from my era, like the 2 Chainz and the cats like that that's still doing it. That was from our era, that still got music that's prevalent. You know what I mean? But Drake and Lil Baby, I like Dirt. I like what Pop Smoke had going on. It's just crazy that the best ones they get taken out though. So a lot of the ones I like. My favorite one was Dolph. You know what I'm saying? I love Young Dolph.
I got into Dolph a little later. You know what I'm saying?
It's like all the ones I like get.
Dolph was hard though. I ain't get on him when he first was popping, but a little later I got on to him, like almost damn near around the time he got
killed.
Yeah, like probably like a year before. I know he had been around for a while, but I had really just started listening to him when he started dropping the shit with Key Glock. And all that,
Key Glock.
Yeah.
His cousin, he came out that whole Memphis sound. They look up to UGK and like 8 Ball MJG and 3 6 Mafia, man. That's just an offspring of that. I like them cats. I like To the Club of Thugs.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. They don't get a lot of credit for crafting a lot of these sounds either. You know what I'm saying?
It's definitely that. Like Bone don't either. Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people now are children of what Bone was doing with the quick lyrics, Twister.
The double time. Yeah,
Double
everybody
time.
rap like that right now.
Yeah,
You know
can't
what I'm
get away
saying?
from
With the
it.
melody, all that shit.
That's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man.
Man, I know it's a lot of people I'm gonna forget. Like I can't think of right now because I got a lot of thoughts running in, like stuff to say. But it's a lot of people I rock with now. It ain't really nobody. Like a lot of the weird stuff is kind of phasing out right now. So I kind of like what's happening. I see a change happening, and it's kind of like press and reset.
Right.
They're trying to get back to some real fire.
So, what do you think about? You know how I used to be like the super producers back in the day, like in the 2000s, we had Timberland and Pharrell and Swiss Beats and all that. It really ain't like that today. So why you think that is?
Because it's the art of digital, the art of things becoming computerized. Excuse me. Like now, people is pressing a button and can download 10 beats from your page or whatever website that you got. So you kind of phase out the site. With back in the day, it used to be you can only send tracks out to like an A&R or a manager, and they'll get your beat placed. But now, like with Instagram, the artist is tapping into the producers, like the producers that are not like Timbaland, but the ones that's coming up. They got FL Studio in a computer, and they laptops. They got Reason Pro Tools in their laptops, and they making beats like that. Everything is so mobile, and you don't need to be in the big studio sitting behind a board making beats. And the artists like that because they on tour, and they always doing shows. So anytime they can hit Instagram, hit on somebody's page and see, hey, this dude got some fire beats. Let me hit somebody or send somebody to send them a shout and tap in that way. It's gonna phase out the old way of doing business through the industry like that.
Right.
The young cats got some different ways of getting it done, man. That like the older generations they weren't even thinking of. So it's a good time right now to be independent.
Yep. And also, the new way that music is being made is made it less regionalized. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everybody got the same sound. You feel me? Like you had the New York cats sounded the way they sounded, the West Coast cats sounded the way they sound, but now everybody can be in contact with each other through social media and internet. You know what I'm saying? It's like shit. Like we don't even really got different accents and shit like that no more around the country. You know what I'm saying?
Similar.
Yeah.
But I definitely see the different swags. I like what I'm saying, the different swags. I'm starting to hear New York get that, starting to flip them samples. Samples always been kind of New York.
But New York, you got that. That's them the older cats from New York. Like the younger cats doing that drill.
They doing the drill, but what they doing now is like the drill. They taking the drill and they putting the samples to it.
Yeah.
Because like if you go over like the UK and London, they got a whole new genre of music that's based off of Four Tops music, Four Tops samples. And it's like high school people and they sampling like the old. It just has to be something about whatever it is about the Four Tops. It has to be that sound that they're sampling. So what they're doing is they're finding a way to take them old. They getting a hold of the old records and then they sampling them, and chopping them up and putting them on drill drums, just that, and they putting like stabs and one shot samples that's on there. That's the next thing. The age of like the sample, they getting one shot packs. A lot of producers got coming out with drum packs and sample packs, and they got one shots and they getting one shots and they putting them samples over the drill drums. That's how Pop Smoke did what he did. He kind of got a New York sound, but it's UK drill. It come from the UK, but it's New York because the sounds that he's incorporating.
Right. It's like UK/50 Cent.
Yeah, it's New York. He found out the way to bridge the two. So that's just one idea of what they're doing now to like bring the old to the new. Right. And I'm real with that, bringing the two together because it needs to happen. Like I feel that they skipped over a whole generation, like a whole generation of artists. Like from the 2000s on up, they kind of like jumped from that and went to the whole trap drill thing took over. But they skipped over the whole T.I.s and the Lou. They didn't let them get all of the Jeezys. They didn't really get. They went so fast. The 2000s went fast, and then you got this new wave that kind of came, and they married down to different cultures.
Expound on that a little more. What you mean by that? Like it went by. What you mean by it went fast?
I mean, like the industry changed. They changed the industry because back when it was popping, you had like the Timberlands, the Pharrells, the Jazzy Bands. Everything was analog.
Yeah.
With the whole digital age that came about within like the teens and the ends going like 2009, 2010, and 2014 going in with that, everything became social media and everything became mobile. So artists didn't have to rely on like being in that big studio like that. Everything was like one press with the press of a button you can get it. Amazon, you can order some, press a button, and it get there quick. So the producers began to take off on that model and try to incorporate them same hustles and do it quick. Mm-hmm. Like so we used to just the way to get on back in the day to get it to the placement on a major album would be to email the manager or the A&R, and they have to go through it. And sometimes they don't even go over hear your shit, man. They just like got a stack. They used to send CDs, or you can go walk a CD into a big studio like in New York or Miami. You can go to Hit Factory, walk a CD in there, and put it on the table. Somebody might. Nah, you can play that shit. You take that shit and throw that shit in the trash. Mm-hmm. But now with your Instagram, like you can just put your own music up, and people can click on. And those same A&Rs is searching like, nah, I need to find what's popping, what's not. You know what I'm saying? That shit is weird, man.
But what I see from this, the people that still kind of move the old school way, those people that's making the music that still stick. You feel me?
It's classic.
Yeah. Everybody else is making like microwave music. It'll last for a season or whatever, or it's good on TikTok for a couple weeks. But the people that still doing their thing, like the Kendricks, the Coles,
Yep,
you know what
them.
I'm saying? That's in there doing that
Yep.
in-house production, using them live instruments,
Yeah.
and you hear all them layers, how they songs sound full, and you got concepts. You know what I'm saying? That's what's resonating with people still.
Yeah, and I ain't named the Kendricks, the J. Coles, and because they so prominent. Like, we already know that they the GOAT. So what's happening
Right.
now? Like, Meek Mill's and some of his songs, some of Meek Mill's songs, but he got some fire. So they're the leaders of that generation. And now they're about to be coming into like that old school. In a minute, you're gonna be hearing them on 105.1. The bounce they be playing like all the
Yeah.
stuff from the 2000s. It's the old school now.
Hey, you knew how I knew when I was getting old when I heard they played All Eyes on Me on 92.3.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, they playing Pac on that. I remember they wouldn't even play no rap on there. You know what I'm saying? They had R&B songs, and if they had a rap verse on it, they'd take the
Yeah.
rap verse out. But now they playing rap songs on 92.3. I'm like, yeah,
And that's what I mean by like they moved their generation on quick.
yeah,
People start like acting older than they are because they like look now, and it ain't no knock to nobody, but like it's people already to assume like being like the matriarchs of families, you know, they grandparents, they I know people like some of my friends like grandparents, great grandparents,
right,
like at a real young age, but they becoming matriarchs. What I mean is like they move the generation on so fast with the music, like, okay, let's get it out of here. It's only like 5 years new, 10 years new to get this new wave in here. They move that generation on to get it out to start what's happening now. So you're not really like as old as you think. It's just what's going on with culture. They keeping the culture moving real fast, and
Right.
they getting you out of the way. Get in there, but like that sound is still there, man. That's why like the T.I.s and the Luders and the Jeezy still can like sell out shows
right.
because that generation of people is still there. So hip hop is the only genre of music that people not allowed to like get older.
But you know why that is, because the genre itself ain't that old. You feel me?
See? Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we just not, the first wave is just not getting old. You know what I'm saying? Like the LLs and all them now, they only in their mid 50s. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like the Rolling Stones and all them dudes, they in their 70s and all that. You know what I'm saying? Rock and roll been around since what, the 30s
30s. Yeah.
or whatever. So hip hop just came around in late 70s, early 80s. So we growing with it. You feel me?
Facts.
So that's why it's good to have like the Benny the Butchers and all these dudes. They just not blowing in their
In
late
between.
30s. You know what
I
I'm
love
saying?
it. Yeah, it needs to be that, man. They got phased out. Like,
Right.
but how come he didn't blow up earlier? Something happened, you know. It's not that they weren't making music.
Right.
It's that the industry, man, shit got.
And plus now it's a
sugarcoated.
craving for it because, like you said, the industry changed.
Yeah.
You got younger artists making music for the younger kids, and people our age in our mid to late 30s. You know what I'm saying? We want that sound, so now it's a market for them to come out. You know what I'm saying? So that's my theory on that.
I think in years it's gonna be something they call like contemporary like rap or something like
Yeah,
that. Because
it's
they're
already-
not gonna stop making. They're not gonna. You don't have to stop, man. I encourage people to get into music. I don't care if you're 80 years old. Like you want to play a piano, you're 80. Okay, we could do that. Like I'm switching topics, but I go into like sometimes the nursing homes, like steel pan.
Yeah.
They love that steel pan. Oh my God, it was like therapy. I used to want to play piano when I was in my days. I can see it sad on their face. No, go ahead. You can get. There's people that give you lessons right now.
Right.
You can, if you want to play 2 notes, play that. It's something that with
As
music
long as
that's
you
healing.
breathing, you never too old. Man. What you
Yeah.
gonna, if you breathing, why not try? You know
Try
what
it
I'm
out.
saying?
You never
What
know.
you gonna just sit there and be
Yeah.
dormant? You know
Yep,
what I'm saying?
You never know.
Yep.
You never know. They let people what people's opinions, what people say, or you this, or you too old to this, or you too young, or you shouldn't be doing this. Let it get to their head, and then they just get
Right.
off track.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So it's a dope interview, man.
Yeah,
Shit.
it's fun, man. I'm
Yeah.
enjoying myself. I'm enjoying this red and black. That COO and LEY.
Right, for sure. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I appreciate you coming through, man. We got The Rise coming out June 25th. You know what I'm saying?
25th.
Look out for that. You know what I'm saying? Get the good summertime vibes going on. You know
Yes,
what I'm
sir.
saying? So yeah, we got Aaron Bray. So man, appreciate you, dog.
My guy, man.
For
DJ
sure.
Wick, all
Episode
time,
12.
man.
You know what I'm saying?
Episode 12.
Spin Cycle with DJ Will Love on WDDS.
Yes,
The
sir.
dirtiest station in the world. Live streaming on Facebook and YouTube. We signing out.